your questions that need answered for the Browns article you wrote for the Orange and Brown Report. I'll group some of them together. Will Joe Flacco steady the offense and play well enough to get wins early in the season? Can the offensive line return to the strength of the offense? And can the rushing game return to be a strength? Those are huge questions, and I probably feel worse about those last two after the Bengals game than I did before it.
Well, you're going on last year, and the Bengals were at the bottom in defense, and you just felt like Browns are going to have a chance to put up a lot more points. They did want to take time off the clock and keep, Burrow off the field, which I think is sound. And I think any game you can do that, but you're going to have a running game, and I do think Quinshon Judkins is going to make a difference. I don't know how much this week, but I think the offensive line after a game now, it's time to get to step up. That's the veterans. You got four of the five, or three of them been to the Pro Bowl or All Pro. You need to start leading the way for the offense in the running game, and that would create opportunities for play action passes. The Browns were almost setting up the run by passing on first down and getting, out to Sampson almost like an extended run. I like that approach, but I do think they want to take some shots. I think Bond's a guy they can do so. He might not be, in the position yet, but I think if you move the ball and you take time, that's the way to go. But it does concern a little bit the running game to get 46 yards against the Bengals. So I said back when the Browns said Kenny Pickett had the inside track to be the starter, I felt Joe Flacco was your best bet in these early season games. You can see his calming presence. He calms a lot of those young guys down back there. And, that's what you want in the quarterback. And so I think he's the least of the worries. I think that the offense as a whole, your receivers need to step up and make those catches. He's going to, more times than not, put the ball in the right place. And then it's again on the offensive line to give him time, to give the running back, room to make, get more than 2 yards a carry, and so then you can dictate to the defense, more so. It's amazing with the running game almost non-existent last week, they were still able to dictate the Bengals what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and time of possession plus 11, roughly. They had 35 something, and the Bengals had 24 something time of possession. All right, the defense. This is kind of your questions that have to be answered. Will the Browns' defensive line be the best that they've had? Will the top two picks make the impact that they need to? And can the secondary hold up?
Yeah, those are keys. I mean, I'll start with the secondary. I was pleased with what Greg Newsome. He tends to celebrate on everything, but the other day he had a reason to celebrate. He did a pretty good job. You know, it goes hand in hand with the defensive line and the pass rush. If they don't have to hold onto there and cover their receivers all day, they're going to look a lot better. I was pleased that Miles Harden in the slot played pretty well. They need Miles Harden and or Cam Mitchell or both to play well because I asked Kevin Stefanski on Monday about that, and they were pleased with Harden, and they just need to get that week in, week out, because a lot of these teams are going to be running, at least three receivers. They were using Rayshon Jenkins, a safety, kind of as the third corner sometimes. So that's where the depth, you got to assume there's going to be some injuries back there. Is that can the depth hold up? But so far, so good with Ward and Newsome on the outside and the other guys stepping in. Now, the defensive line, I was very impressed, obviously, with Myles Garrett, but Isaiah McGuire, he only got one sack. But if you watched him play, there was one play where the tackle landed on him and held him down, really held him. He got up and chased Burrow across the field and tackled him or pushed him out of bounds. It was a pure hustle play. And I think he's going to have a big year. And that helps everybody. I think Carson Schlesinger or Mason Graham played well the first drive. You know, maybe Graham was just finding his way, but after the first drive, he played well. Schlesinger led the team in tackles. And so I think those two guys, they can build on that after they, getting their feet wet. So the defense, I think, really is starts and finishes with the defensive front. You're going to get that play out of Miles, but if you can get that from McGuire or Alex Wright on the other side, and then the push with Malik Collins, Mason Graham inside, and I think you're going to get Michael Hall coming back, if not this week, in the next week or two. I think that bodes well. Just keep those guys fresh and keep them coming.